Welcome to Beijing. I am super excited because this is my very first time here in China and I cannot wait to explore China's vibrant capital with you today. I will take you to Beijing's most iconic landmarks, to some hidden gems and to the must-see places. Let's not waste any time and dive right into this. We are starting today's video here on the highest point of the city of Beijing, from which you can get an amazing overview of the whole city. Here behind me you can see the Forbidden City. Right after that there are some ancient housings of Beijing which are called hutongs. We have been walking through them when coming here and it's super cute and amazing to get lost in the tiny streets there. And after those hutongs, there is the modern area of Beijing with skyscrapers and so on. This hill we are currently on is an artificial hill. It has been created with the soil that has been excavated from the moats of the Forbidden City. We are now going to walk down because we want to explore the Forbidden City as well. I just realized I completely forgot to mention the name of this park up there. It is called Jingshan Park and you will have to pay a small entrance fee. We pay 2 yuan here, which is less than $1, so it's really not a lot. I've heard that during the summer months it is a little bit more because it gets super beautiful. This whole park gets extremely vibrant and colorful because they plant lots of flowers here in the park to make it more attractive and more enjoyable. So especially during the summertime, you will probably enjoy it even more and spend even more time here. In general, it's a very beautiful park, and this park is located in the north of the Forbidden City. That one, by the way, looks extremely huge from up there. I was surprised to see that like this, because on videos it looks way smaller. But I cannot wait to explore it now, so let's go. Alright, we are currently walking towards the Forbidden City. I can already see it over there. And I just bought a hat because the cold here is intense. There are lots of Chinese people going out with this and it looked so warm and cute. And I just had to get it. When you buy something, always make sure to bargain a lot because, for example, the lady where we bought this, she asked me to pay 400 yuan at first. In the end, I paid only 200 and it was probably still too much. But it is part of the Chinese culture to bargain, always. And in general, if you can see some people here, you can also see that they wear similar things. Have a look at the background. Anyway, in general, we are on a main road and there are lots of people surrounding us currently, and yet you don't hear much. It is super weird. The city is quiet. I've never been in such a huge city with almost no noise, but it's cool. It's like really enjoyable to walk through the city actually. If you have a look, there are lots of cars here on this side, and yet you don't hear much. We just bought the ticket here behind me in the ticket office. It has cost us 40 yuan per person. We can enter with our passports. Here in China, it is super important to always bring your passport because your passport number is basically your ticket. At the entrances, they always scan your passport. They will recognize the number and with that you can enter. We will now enter the Forbidden City, but just in general, I would recommend you to buy your entry tickets 1 week ahead. If you are a bit late, just like us right now, you won't be able to make an online reservation for the Forbidden City anymore. So make sure to do this 1 week ahead. If you haven't done that, no worries, you can line up. Here it was quite quick. I think we stood there 5 to 10 minutes and then you can also enter. We just entered the Forbidden City and as you can see there are so many people here visiting it. The Forbidden City is one of the main tourist attractions here in Beijing and it is impressive already just at the entry area. It has been built in the 15th century during the Ming dynasty and it has been the palace for 24 emperors during the Ming and Qing dynasties. The name Forbidden City symbolizes its exclusivity. People were not allowed to enter this area here of Beijing, only the emperors. Even high-ranking officials needed a permission to enter the Forbidden City. And its dominant colors, as you can see, are red and yellow. And those symbolize fortune and the imperial power. The whole palace has a size of more than 180 acres. There are more than 1,000 surviving buildings and more than 9,000 rooms. It is huge and you will probably need to spend a few hours here to explore all of this. It took more than 1 million workers to build this whole area. And the Forbidden Palace is known as the best preserved imperial palace in the world. One of the most spectacular buildings of this palace is this one here behind me. This is the Hall of Supreme Harmony. It has been built in 1420 and it has been used for big ceremonies. Its name refers to the coexistence of all beings in heaven and earth. By all the crowds, you can probably already tell that I am in front of another quite popular building. This here is the Palace of Heavenly Purity. It has been built in the early Ming Dynasty as well, but it has been destroyed by fire and reconstructed several times. This palace has been used as the emperor's residence for a long time, but later on they didn't use this as the residence anymore and transformed it into an area where they could hold banquets, for example, or accept congratulations. The Forbidden City is seriously a super impressive place, and I think it is definitely a must-see if you're here in Beijing. It is extremely crowded, but it is really stunning. This is the ancient Chinese architecture that you can get to know here a little bit more. This is the China that I think we in Western countries always imagine it to be. The city has a long history and there's probably lots of stories to tell here. For us people from Western countries, it is hard to fully understand this history. There was, for example, a huge line of people lining up to get a view inside one of the palaces. There must have been something very special for them. I personally didn't see that much in there, but I also don't know the full history of the palace. So that is a little bit unsatisfying, to be honest, that you don't fully understand this place, but nevertheless there are some signs that will give you some information and it's just impressive and a super beautiful place. We're now walking towards the Tiananmen Square. And I want you to be aware of the dimensions here in Beijing. Sometimes it looks like you only have to walk like one block, for example, and that's it. And it should be short, but it's not. The city is huge, and it usually takes quite a while to walk towards the next destination, which is why I would always recommend you to rather take buses or the metro here. We are now in front of the entrance of the Tiananmen Square. This square is a symbol for the modern China and it has been finished to construct in 1959. It is known as the largest public square in the world and it is surrounded by important landmarks. Unfortunately, we won't be able to visit it because you actually need to make a reservation online at least one day ahead. I didn't know that, and this is our last day here in Beijing, so we won't be able to visit. It's for free apparently, but you need to make this reservation. So if you want to visit it, I will leave you a link in the description below. I will check it out and you can make that reservation. Next, we'll visit the Temple of Heaven. It was built in the 15th century and it is a great example for the Ming Dynasty architecture. This temple was a sacred place for emperors to pray for a good harvest and prosperity. Its design perfectly reflects the ancient Chinese belief of harmony between heaven and earth. And it is not just one temple, it's actually a whole park area that is almost 300 hectares big. And we are going to take a walk through the park of the Temple of Heaven now, explore it a little bit. We had to pay 26 yuan per person to enter it. And as you can now see by the masses of people that are here in this area, we have reached the highlight of the Temple of Heaven, which is this circular building that is known as the Temple of Heaven. Its circular shape represents heaven, while the square that we are currently standing at symbolizes the earth. This temple is not only an architectural marvel, it is also a cultural treasure. So this visit in general is beautiful and impressive. This temple is stunning from the inside. There are a lot of details on the walls. It's really beautiful, but unfortunately we cannot enter it. That is not allowed. And as you can see probably in the background, there are so many people here. It is kind of crazy. Although, to be honest, I expected it to be even worse. But in my opinion, this whole area here, this whole temple area is definitely worth a visit, as it is a very stunning site and a very symbolic site for the city of Beijing. On our way to the bell tower, which is just around the corner, we found this cute little area here. This is called a hutong. Hutongs, you can find them all over the city. They all have different names, and they are the ancient housing of China. You can see small buildings. They only have like 1 or 2 floors usually, and you can find lots of little stores here, lots of food and so on. So if you want to get a snack, this would be the place to go to. And it's in general cute to get lost here in the streets. They are quite busy. I think we are in a very touristic area here, so this one specifically is really busy right now. If you want to take a glimpse at the ancient time-making system here in Beijing, you should definitely visit the bell tower and the drum tower that is right in front of it. These 2 towers were built during the Yuan dynasty in the 15th century, and they played a crucial role in making the time for the city. They built these kind of towers all over China, but these 2 are the biggest ones that exist until today. Let's get some tickets and enter the 2 towers. We decided to enter the bell tower first. There's a huge bell up there in the tower, and that one was used to mark the time in the morning hours. I just noticed there's a super steep stair that we have to take now. So this will be a bit exhausting and a little bit of a challenge. Always watch your step when walking up, I guess. Here we can now see how they played the 60 tons heavy bell. Besides seeing this impressive bell here, we also get an amazing 360 degrees view all over Beijing. This tower here has the height of 48 meters, and therefore we get these stunning views all over the hutongs in the area and the whole city of Beijing. Next we will go up the drum tower. The drum tower was used to mark the afternoon hours. There are 24 drums up there, each one representing a part of the traditional solar calendar. Make sure to catch the drum show if you come here. Every full hour they play the drums, and I think it will be super cool to see that. Let's get inside because in half an hour they will start. This drum show was so cool. I personally think that this tower here is a must that you have to visit while being in Beijing. The bell tower can be skipped if you don't have the time, but it's definitely affordable, so you can also do both. But this one is a must. Now, Beijing in general surprised me in many ways. I was expecting it to be only overcrowded, noisy, and full of people everywhere. And yes, there are some parts that are super touristic, and of course there are a lot of people that's quite normal, but in general the city is quiet and Chinese people in general don't make much noise. I thought Beijing would be full of pollution, for example, but no, we have perfect air quality all the time, a sunny blue sky. And the cars, honestly, there are lots of electric cars, so there's not much pollution here in the city. In any case, this was the perfect start of my China adventure. Thank you so much for joining me here through my tour in Beijing. Make sure to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel to follow me along my adventures through China. And I will hopefully see you in the next one.